What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video / podcast of the Dynasty Dweebs. Today, we're going to be covering high upside tight ends. I am joined with one of our normal hosts, Jim Brooks, and then also special guest, Zach Karcher today.
No one improves Zach.
Facts.
The better one.
All right, so like I said, high upside tight ends. What does this mean? This means that we're not talking about Travis Kelce and George Kittle. Obviously, they have tons of upside, but we're looking at players that are more not as well known, guys that are on new teams, a little different, thinking
Younger
outside
guys,
the box a little
less
bit.
proven.
Guys, yeah. Lower ADPs.
Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. 1 second, sorry. Trying to
Take your time. It's fine. We don't have nothing to do.
How's everyone's day?
My day was great.
Awesome. All right.
You know it.
Diving right into it. Hayden HURST, 2019 stats. He is 26 years old. He played all 16 games last year. He was number 34 in PPR, 30 targets, 39 receptions, 349 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he is now on the Atlanta Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
First thoughts on Hayden HURST from a dynasty aspect, please.
I think he is a little bit older for being a third-year tight end, but he has a lot of potential. He really wasn't getting the looks that he deserved on the Ravens just because of the depth Ravens had.
Yeah, at tight end, the Ravens are obviously not going to be using Hayden HURST primarily when you have Mark Andrews ahead of him, which is a shame to Hayden HURST because it's not like he's not a serviceable player. It was just he was behind a better guy.
He had really good flashes. I remember, I think it was against the Browns, he had like a 70-yard touchdown. And whenever he got the opportunity, he was making good plays and good catches.
Yeah, he definitely has shown the potential, but now that he's in Atlanta, a lot of people are expecting him to thrive with a lot more targets. If you look at what Atlanta did the year prior with Austin Hooper had 97 targets. So, and HURST had 30 targets. So he could literally triple his targets coming into next year if he keeps up with Austin Hooper. Yeah, I'm just if he gets the same amount of volume as Austin Hooper.
Some of those, like Austin Hooper got a ton of touchdowns too. So I think HURST could be big in the red zone. Could be really solid for dynasty.
Another thing people always kind of rule out, or people are really hyping on the Falcons is Calvin Ridley obviously people are expecting him to break out this year. But people don't talk about how Ridley's red zone looks aren't exactly there, and Russell Gage gets more of them. So maybe Hayden HURST becomes the primary red zone guy for this team along with Julio Jones.
Julio Jones does not score fucking touchdowns.
Yeah, come on.
He should, but he doesn't.
So
yeah.
I think Hayden HURST has a large opportunity to score a lot of touchdowns here. Yeah, I agree. I think it could translate properly, if you just want to look at Hooper's stats, look at HURST. I think it's fair to compare the two because HURST is so talented. I think that he can repeat, and he is definitely faster than Hooper. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
But
HURST is actually really fast.
Yeah, so we'll just see if, as long as him and Matt Ryan can get a good connection and he can learn the playbook properly, I think he definitely can finish in the top 10 and be a tight end 1 this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you look at HURST's games last year. I mean, he has a majority of his games are 1 target and 2 target games.
Yeah.
In this Atlanta offense, you can't imagine they're going to feed the tight end only 1 to 2 attempts a game.
Well, dude, he was a backup on the Ravens.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He's the third tight end.
So that's why he's only getting 1 to 2 targets.
I know, but
it has nothing to do with
he's a player who should have gotten more volume. Just he's behind a better player.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And HURST on that long touchdown I mentioned, I think he had one of the fastest runs of the Ravens all season. He was way up there, over 20 miles per hour. He's actually really fast.
Yeah.
He was gassed after that play too.
On to the next one. Shit. Blake Jarwin. I'm a little sus about this guy, but 2019 stats, age 26, number 28 tight end in PPR, 41 targets, 31 receptions. He had 365 yards and 3 touchdowns. The old man, Jason Witten, is no longer on the team. He has moved on to a better team, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Are they better?
Fourth year in the league for this guy. Do you think he's a fifth-year breakout player?
I'm sure you're going to see a huge jump in the fact that he doesn't have Jason Witten to compete with, and
you
it's
could say that, but they also got Lamb, so I don't know if that's true.
also true. However,
Amari,
does it say something? Well, Amari was there, but he signed the long deal, obviously. But does it say something that Jarwin wasn't able to beat out a 37-year-old Jason Witten?
Exactly.
Jason Witten is undervalued. He was a top 10 tight end last year.
He was 11 in PPR.
Well, yes, I think that might say more that, like, I don't know.
He's old reliable.
If you can't beat him out, then what is he doing?
Yeah. I mean, I obviously think he'll be in a more – actually, he had 41 targets, 31 receptions. Honestly, I don't expect him to break. I mean, 60 is probably a max, isn't it? If you had to guess, since they did add CeeDee Lamb to this offense.
And they still have Zeke for the red zone, so it's not like
shit. If I know, it's Blake Jarwin. I mean, he's not really like great.
No.
And like he doesn't have the best I mean, Jason Witten and Dak had a pretty good rapport. It seemed like. I mean, he was always the guy to be open. Oh, just real quick to backtrack, just Hayden Hurst's redraft value. I really like his redraft value, like a lot. I think you can get him at a very, very decent ADP. But anyways, Blake Jarwin, late flyer for me for redraft. For Dynasty, I think you're just holding him if you have him, obviously. I mean, I think there's a lot better options. You're going to find a lot better options to this list than Blake Jarwin, is what I'm trying to say.
I don't even know if he's a tight end, too.
No, I think that's where he falls. I don't think he ends up. I think he's probably after 12, but he's not closer to 28.
It's honestly hard not to be in the top 25 and be a tight end.
True.
Oh yeah.
You could have like a 30-point game and be a tight end and play one game.
Jarwin scored 69 fantasy points last year and was number 28. So you don't really have to score a whole lot of points to be a top 30 tight end even.
I agree. Stats don't lie. All right, moving on.
That don't matter.
We have this big mother frickin' dude, JONNU Smith, an absolute Hulk.
The youngest guy so far.
You should just draft him because of the way he looks. I mean,
is that it? Is that what we're drafting for?
All right, 2019 stats. He's 24 years old. He is massive. I made sure to put that all caps for my first point. He is massive. Number 20 PPR last year. Not too bad as his second season, I believe.
No, he's actually going into his fourth year, surprisingly. He didn't play his first year.
Oh, he did. He played 16 games, 13 games, and then 16 again.
I thought he had 0 for 2017.
No, he played all 16 games. He only had 18 receptions.
So he is going into his fourth year. You're right.
44 targets, 35 receptions, 439 yards, averaging 12.5 yards per catch, and 3 touchdowns. So the JONNU Smith thing is he was bad before because of the quarterback. I'm going to 100% blame that on Mariota. And I think Tannehill is a great option. This team does not have a lot of targets. It's just JONNU Smith, A.J. Brown, and then Corey Davis.
Yeah, and Adam Humphries.
So give me some JONNU Smith, 100%.
My problem is it's a run-first offense. They're going to be running the ball so much this year. They just paid Derrick Henry. And
the Ravens. Mark Andrews and the Ravens. Mark Andrews and the Ravens.
Yeah, but I think he would have broken out last year. I don't know. I just don't see.
No, I think
biceps are
I don't
bigger
necessarily
than my head.
thinking. Are you saying you think the Titans are going to run the ball more than they did last year? I feel like they're going to want to preserve Henry a little bit. Maybe he'll get the 300 attempts again, but I don't think they're going to try and run him into the ground since they gave him the 4-year deal.
Maybe.
He's definitely getting more than 250.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think they're going to definitely be run heavy. That's the way they found their way to win. They're just going to.
Yeah, but now that they have a full year that they can kind of have Tannehill at the helm, maybe things are different too.
Yeah, that is a big question mark of how this offense is going to look with Tannehill. Who's his target's going to be? It seemed like A.J. Brown was one of his favorites with the deep ball.
And you did kind of glance over Corey Davis and how trash you think he is. I mean, I think he's their number 2 guy as a wide receiver at least.
I like Humphries more than Davis.
That's their slot guy, so.
I think Davis is still getting his playing time, but
there was a huge regression in Corey Davis from year 2 to 3, where he had 112 targets to 69 targets, which is obviously pretty alarming for him. But does JONNU Smith become the number 2 option essentially on this team in the passing game?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so, probably.
So he had 44 targets last year. Do you expect another bump? Like,
I'm giving him 50 plus.
I think, but his fantasy value is going to be very red zone dependent. I think there's going to be very dependent on Derrick Henry in the red zone.
Well, I think that he looks like a good red zone target to me. He probably takes up the whole entire end zone.
I think he looks like a good blocking tight end.
Yeah,
he looks amazing all around.
That's a big dude.
So he finished 20th.
JONNU Smith over Blake Jarwin, 100%.
I agree, yeah. But do you think he can push to be a top 12 tight end and be a tight end 1?
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's lower end, 12 to 10 range if he has a really good year and Ryan Tannehill continues to improve.
I could see him falling anywhere between like 10 to 15. I think he could in that realm of possibility.
Is Delanie Walker done forever?
I don't think he's on the team.
Okay.
He's really old.
Just checking to make sure. I didn't want anyone commenting saying, "What about Delanie Walker, though?"
He probably still is a team. He's been there forever. I just don't think he's relevant
anymore. I would also say JONNU Smith is the youngest tight end we've covered so far. After 3 years, he's only 24. The other guys were 26 years old after 3 years. So he has a little bit extra youth on his side.
Again, really like him in Dynasty. Also like him in redraft because you can get him super late. You don't have to pay.
A lot of the tight ends anyway.
Well, in this video, they're all pretty much like that.
Yeah.
Moving on. Mike Gesicki, icky, 2019 stats. He is also 24 years old, number 12 in PPR last year. He was 52 PPR 2018. I just put that in there just to show how much he has came in a year. Very impressive. 89 targets, 51 receptions, 570 yards, 11.18 yards per catch, 5 touchdowns. Great improvement from 2018 to 2019. There are a lot of question marks around this team. I will start off with a few of them. We are uncertain about the quarterback, and the worst thing is this team was last place in rush attempts last year, which gave Gesicki proper volume. I believe they will run the ball this year a lot more with Jordan Howard and Matt Brady, leading Gesicki to have a somewhat of a regression. He will need touchdowns.
I will also point out that it looks like he got a majority of his volume after Preston Williams was hurt.
Yeah, I would believe that.
True.
No, I mean, Preston Williams got injured like week 8 or 9, right?
Yes.
Around there.
He got injured. He didn't play week 10 and on. If you look at Gesicki from week 10 and on, I mean, around week 9 is when he started like getting consistent volume, where he had 6, 6, 6 again, 7, 7, 5, 8, 12, 7. And prior to that, he had a 7 in week 6, but the very beginning of the season, week 4, he wasn't targeted. 3 targets, 2 targets, 6 in the first game. So
Josh Rosen played some of those games, so please ease up on my man Gesicki, because Josh Rosen is a dumpster fire.
I just want to say that it seems that he became more consistent in the offense after Preston Williams was obviously out, which is going to be obvious because that's one less guy to throw to. So are we going to see a regression actually from Gesicki, knowing that we have Preston Williams back and the 2 running backs, Brady and Howard, signed there?
Well, I don't think so. I think he's going to be.
I don't know. 89 targets is a lot.
He's going to have less targets, but be more efficient with his targets.
Probably. I think for his dynasty value, it's really going to depend on how much him and Tua work together.
And when they.
If that's going to be Tua's goal line guy, then he's going to be really important for dynasty for years to come.
Just kind of something to go off of. I mean, Mark Andrews only had 9 more targets than Gesicki.
Yeah, but he just made them.
Yeah,
he
caught a lot more. He only catching 51 receptions out of 89 targets as a tight end is pretty poor.
Yeah, that's been a problem with him. He's not very consistent with catching the ball.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, the biggest problem for me is the running. They're going to run the ball this year. Last year, they were last place running the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there. Maybe running will make him better. We don't know.
Running can help and hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a giant guy. He's 6'6". I don't see why he wouldn't be a great end zone target too. But I think for his overall position this year, I think round where he finished is probably the best he's going to finish. I don't think he's going to creep into the top 10 this year, at least, until maybe we see what he does when Tua gets involved.
I'm giving him
if
top
anything,
10.
It's
I think
honestly
not
back.
hard to get in the top 10.
I agree. He only scored 109.5 fantasy points.
Yeah, I think he could easily be in the top 10.
Sure. I just think if he's going to lose targets,
considering Darren Waller's not going to be in it, I can promise you Gesicki will be in it.
Chill on Darren Waller. He just got paid.
The Walrus.
Moving on. TJ Hockenson. All right. Little unfortunate for this guy last year.
Yeah.
2019 stats. He is 23 years old, number 31 in PPR. He played 12 games, 59 targets, 32 receptions, 367 yards, 2 touchdowns, and I listed his injury, which was an ankle injury.
He also had Matt Stafford out most of the year.
True. Very true.
And I think both TDs he had came in one game. He had like a monster game. He had 30 points.
It was like
he had
week
one, he had 1 touchdown, 131 yards, which counted for 35% of his total yards for the year.
I mean, the guy has a lot of upside. He's on a good offense with a good maybe not a good offense because you could say they don't play well, but Matt Stafford is on the team. He's a serviceable quarterback. He will get Hockenson targets he deserves, I believe.
And Hockenson's only going into his second year. I expect a big jump.
Yep.
Yeah,
really early.
I think there was a lot of hype. There's a lot of hype in TJ Hockenson considering he was the 8th overall draft pick a year ago, and you don't generally see breakouts from year 1 tight ends. It's later into their careers, so I think you can definitely see improvement, especially if he was able to play the whole 16 games. Not playing 4 games hurts.
And has Stafford the whole year.
Yeah, there was flashes he had, like the first game where you thought this guy was definitely for real.
Yeah.
Isn't he from Iowa?
He is.
He's corn-fed. He is for real. 100%.
Give me 6'5", 240.
I will gladly go and buy Hockenson in Dynasty right now. I'm 100% willing to buy. And in redraft, he's going to go very late again. Good flyer to have on your team. Stop drafting this tier of Evan Ingram and Hunter Henry. Just avoid that tier completely and just move on. You don't need those players.
I like that. I like that take.
Too high.
I don't even think theirs are that high.
Next player, Noah Fant. Big fan. All right, 2019 stats. He's only 22. Crazy. Number 16 in PPR last year. 66 targets, 44 receptions, 562
40
yards.
receptions. He had 40 receptions.
44 right here.
I see 40.
Shut up. I did this earlier, and you're just interrupting me and ruining my flow.
That's fine. I don't give a shit.
It's 4 different receptions. 4 reception difference.
It makes a big difference.
I don't know how our sleepers aren't matching up, but it's happened last time. It happened last time too. It is what it is.
You're dyslexic. It's fine.
562 yards, 14 yards per catch, 3 touchdowns. I'm fading him honestly. Okay. I'm fading him this year.
Okay.
I don't think there's sufficient volume for this dude on this team. There's really not.
That might be a problem.
And I just found out Drew Lock's real name is Paul. 100% fading Drew.
That hurts him. Yeah, that hurts him.
It's all done for me. I don't know if I can ride the wagon still.
What do you mean? You're a big Drew Lock guy. Get the fuck
His name's Paul Lock. I don't know who Drew Lock is.
I think Noah Fant and Drew Lock are going to have that connection, and he's one to get in Dynasty.
Yeah, I think he's one for the future.
I don't think you're going to be able to get him in Dynasty, though.
He's going to be expensive, and the whole problem that everyone's seeing is that they just drafted Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler. in the first and second round of the draft.
And they have Cortland Sutton.
And obviously, yes, Cortland
and
Sutton.
And they have Philip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon.
Yeah, there's a lot of mouths to feed on this team. There's a lot of notable guys, and it makes it almost, I don't want to say it compared to the Chiefs yet, because these guys just have name value right now. They don't have anything proven from their rookies, and Noah Fant being a second-year player. But they're trying to get a high-powered offense to compete with the Chiefs in their division, it looks like. I like Fant. I just don't know how we're going to see him improve. Not necessarily not improve, but he's not going to get a bunch of volume that we want to see to jump in for his target share that allows him to be dynasty or just fantasy relevant.
Okay, well, I did a poll today for Dynasty Dweeb's Twitter. You can go follow us if you'd like. Quick plug. 88 votes. I said, who had more fantasy points this year, Mike Gesicki or Noah Fant? It was a 50-50 split. So
yeah. Tight ends, like everyone's, like we've said, the total amount of fantasy points that all these tight ends get is so close, and just a couple touchdowns can sway who's ahead of who.
I don't like Fant that much because I really see this team. I said this in the last video with Phil Lindsay on the Broncos. I really see this team going to a possession run-based team because they're not like you said, they're competing with the Chiefs. I think they got Melvin Gordon because they want to hold the ball and they don't fully trust Drew Lock yet.
I think Drew Lock was impressive last year, but it's a young team.
I mean, Drew Lock was limited. I mean, he only played 5 games, but he did show out pretty well, going 4-1, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I mean, there's reason to be excited about what the Broncos.
Optimistic and negative at the same time.
I mean, negative for a player-to-player basis on who, if you think these guys can be top-tier players, but I don't see why Noah Fant can't be in the conversation as, again, like near the top 12.
I think
he could fall right in this range.
I think he could be in the top 10 also, but I'm going to say Mike Gesicki, Hayden Hurst, and Hockenson all have better chances than Noah Fant being in the top 10.
I mean, it's kind of hard considering a majority of as long as guys are healthy. I mean, you basically have at least 3 guys guaranteed to be around the top 3, and then other guys that you know are going to be also right after them. There's not a lot of room for these guys to jump up, and like after the Kelsey, Andrews, Kittle. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Austin's looking at me all blanked.
Stop talking about the guys we're not talking about.
I mean, they kind of are involved.
They don't matter. Kelsey doesn't matter. He's basically starting a wide receiver at tight end. He's just completely irrelevant from this list.
He's a tight end.
And Kittle do not matter at all. Because, look, if you're wasting your draft picks on them, I feel bad.
It's not a waste.
I wouldn't say it's a waste.
I think it's a waste.
They're league winners.
Won't pay. Especially not George Kittle because Jimmy Garoppolo sucks. I'm going to see the regression all next year.
Damn.
You can book it.
Damn.
I agree with that take.
Goddard. All right, so this whole thing is going to depend on a lot, but we'll go through his stats real quick. 2019 stats. He is 25 years old. He was number 10 in PPR in 2019. In 2018, he was number 20 in PPR, 87 targets, 58 receptions, 607 yards, 5 touchdowns. Biggest question mark is, will Zach Ertz stay on the Eagles? We had the trade rumors that he was going to get traded to the Falcons.
Not anymore.
They are working on a contract this summer, I believe, but nothing is certain. Mm-hmm. So, if I was the Eagles, I would trade Zach Ertz.
I also think
I don't think there's a reason to. I don't think there's a reason to trade either.
They could trade Goddard or Ertz.
I mean, they've basically shown they can operate with the 2 tight ends and get them. And I mean, offensively, I'm not going to get into the Deshaun Jackson, but what they have at receiver is nothing. I mean, you have rookie Jalen Reagor, who we'll see what he does. Like I said, I mean, they signed Marquise Goodwin. Again, not going over Deshaun Jackson at this point. We'll see. Alshon Jeffrey, what's going to happen with him at this point? Will he even play? Like, he's going to be on the PUP list most likely. Ertz gets a ridiculous amount of target share. Goddard, as a backup tight end getting 87 targets, that's enough volume to keep two guys happy, I would imagine.
What you said exactly clarifies why he has his targets. There was no one else to throw the ball to for like most of the season, which is why
it seems like it could be. It seems like they could do that very easily again.
Right.
The fact that there's two top 10 tight ends on the same team is pretty amazing.
Yeah, well.
And the problem that I think they need to take Zach Ertz and get rid of Goddard because Carson Wentz is from North Dakota State and Goddard's from South Dakota State.
Why would you do that?
There's a Dakota rivalry, dude. Come on.
Zach Ertz is so much more expensive.
Oh, 100%.
Well, they're going to have to pay Goddard coming up. He's going to be effective wherever he goes, though.
I agree.
I think
don't know what teams need a tight end
really as a number one tight end.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, this is my favorite so far on the list. I think this guy is the best tight end out of all these players so far.
Yeah.
I think he's the best in real life. I don't think he's the best fantasy option for this year.
Yeah. But like, I mean, dynasty obviously is a good option, but fantasy, like he's like redraft value, like he is great because he will fall 100%. He will fall.
He was tight end 1 last year, and he wasn't the starter.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah. Oh, God. Okay, so we're going to spend a couple minutes on this one. Tyler Higbee, 2019 stats. He is 27 years old. I know that he's a little older than the rest of the bunch, but still cut him in there. He is number 8 in PPR this year. He broke out, 89 reception, 80 – I messed that up.
Targets,
too. 89 targets,
come on, man.
69 receptions, 734 yards, 3 touchdowns. Here we go. Gerald Everett. Rams wanted to get more involved. I read the statement today. I don't know when it was released, but I made sure I did my research.
3 months ago.
That still matters. You're just biased.
They just paid Tyler Higbee 4 years, $31 million.
It's also – I hate looking at like the news like that because – obviously, a coach is going to say they want to get this player involved, like for a running back. Oh, yeah, we want to get him more.
You're brainwashed because of David Montgomery and Matt Nagy, so I don't even want to hear it.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about Chris Carson because I remember seeing all that last year. And then,
but they were right. They were telling the truth. Everything they said that happened.
All right. Obviously, Higbee, a lot of people are projecting him to be this year's O.J. Howard.
Like a bust?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I drafted him. Well, and another thing, you look at this guy, just like Mike Gesicki, at the latter half of the season is when he got the bulk of his targets. I mean, the last 4 games of the season, he had 11 targets, 14, 11, and 12.
Is that when Cooper Kupp was not playing?
Yeah.
And Brandon Cooks?
That'll do it.
The Rams' offense in general is just weird.
Cooper Kupp played all 16 games.
I could talk for 3 hours about the Rams' offense.
And Robert Woods also played all 16 games. So
I thought was it 2 years ago Cooper Kupp got hurt?
Yeah, I thought he went back-to-back on injuries. Was I wrong?
It was in 2018. He missed half the year after the ACL tear.
I like him. Like I still think that like in redraft, you're still going to get him at a really good value.
I think
but I think there's too much hype.
I don't think there's necessarily hype. I mean,
see it every day on Twitter, man. It's Higbee season.
I mean, like I said, the last 5 weeks of the season is when he showed a majority of what he brought to this last year. And that's kind of what made him a fantasy relevant tight end because he had 4 of the last 5 weeks, he had over 100 yards receiving and
the potential
2 of his 3 touchdowns.
In Dynasty, would you rather have Higbee or Hayden Hurst?
Hayden Hurst.
Okay.
I like the offense better. That's
enough said there. Moving on.
I think they're both high-powered offenses, so it's kind of a toss-up.
It's Hayden Hurst. Dawson Knox. Look at that luscious hair.
Jesus.
He is 23 years old, number 32 in PPR, 50 targets, 28 receptions, 388 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Not the best year, but he was a rookie. So give the guy some time. I mean, this is just a guy you kind of fill into your dynasty team. Maybe he'll emerge as a decent tight end later on. Yeah. We'll see.
He's still in a crowded tight end room. I think it's 2 veterans that are older.
Well, they have Tyler Kroft still.
Who?
Tyler Kroft.
Tyler Kroft.
Yeah, Tyler Kroft, and then there's another guy who's even older than him. It's not
Smith.
Charles Clay. They cut him. But
Lee Smith. He's 32.
Yeah, Lee Smith. That was him. He has a future with Josh Allen in Dynasty, I guess.
The volume's going to be really insufficient, I feel like, with having 2 running backs and then Stephon Diggs and John Brown. It'll be he's going to have to emerge as a red zone threat to be relevant, 100%. I don't have much else to say.
I don't think he's going to be a tight end 1 for the next couple years, probably. I don't see him. I think if he's your backup, you're happy because he could end up having a nice game where he gets a touchdown and then puts up a decent amount of points for you in a week. On the rare occasion that happens, I mean, he's definitely not going to – he's the third option at best on this team. And honestly, Cole Beasley might be ahead of him too.
In the 10 and a 12-man league, I am definitely not satisfied with Dawson Knox as my tight end. No. You need a new tight end.
No.
And I'm sure you can find one.
He's definitely a guy you can get late for cheap.
Yeah. He's a good filler. Mm-hmm. Okay. We actually moved through this a lot faster than we thought. Not too bad. Irv Smith Jr. He's on the Minnesota Vikings. He is 21 years old, number 33 in PPR last year, 47 targets, 36 receptions, 311 yards, 2 touchdowns. And the biggest con is the Kyle Rudolph competition. Thoughts?
He's very young.
Targets, I guess, since Diggs is gone.
I don't know. Justin Jefferson, though, is going to take all the targets, I think, 100%.
They get Justin Jefferson, and they also drafted KJ Osborne later in the draft. But I don't think Osborne's going to be that crucial yet. Yeah. Obviously, they still have Kyle Rudolph as the other tight end. But the thing is, this guy has so much room to grow. He's 21.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not busting
I don't see this team running 2 tight ends a bunch either.
But, you're right, Jim. By the time the dude's 25, he could be a stud. I mean, he's a good guy to stock up on. Redraft,
I'm not in the second round.
And, redraft, just to make this clear, I'm not targeting Irv Smith or Dawson Knox. You don't need to draft either of these people in redraft fantasy.
No. Correct.
Unless you're in a 16-man
20-man league.
Yeah, go ahead.
2 tight end league.
Yeah.
You got to get in one of those.
But anything else to add on Irv Smith?
I don't think so.
The potential's
there.
Give
him a couple years.
Room to grow. Yeah, potential's there. Room to grow. Hold them and you get value later on.
All right, so to wrap this up, who was your guys' favorite player from this list?
I think I'm going to go TJ Hawkinson. I think his potential is really high with a healthy year and Stafford a full year.
Well, actually, let me rephrase that. Who besides Higbee, just because, you think will finish the highest?
That is a great question. Oh, God. I think it has to be Goddard.
You're saying Goddard?
I think he's
I think Goddard's the clear-cut one.
And I'm going to say Hayden Hurst. I think he's going to ball out the first year. 2. I think Hayden Hurst has the most upside out of this whole list.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's potential. We haven't seen him.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's why
upside
he's
is
on the new team where
still a question mark. I'm not guaranteeing it. I'm just saying just by
he
the
has
look
the highest
of the team.
Ceiling.
Yeah. Upside ceiling. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I agree with that.
That pretty much wraps it up for today. Thank you for watching the Dynasty Dweebs. We will see you guys on Monday. Peace.